Hey y'all. So, like I said in my last video, I wanted to share another LSD experience with y'all in this one. This one is from a few years ago. It was 2012 that I had this experience. 2012 was like, I feel like a big year in general. Definitely a big year for me. It's when I first really started, not first, but like really started delving into spirituality a little bit more. And I was just having all of these really incredible experiences, and um yeah, I was taking a lot of acid, let's be real. um so I had this trip. It was in, I think, like March of 2012, and me and this person that I didn't really know super well. During that time of my life, I wasn't really being very discerning about who I tripped with. Now I'm very discerning. I'm very picky about who I partake in that particular medicine with, or any medicine with, to be honest. And this person I didn't know very well. Um, and actually, before I even start, I would like to give a few trigger warnings. I am going to bring up things about rape and police brutality, and death is a big one for sure. So yeah, just before I got into it, I wanted to give those warnings. Um, but anyway, so me and this person, we were gonna trip together, and beforehand, we went to go get some energy work done by one of my friends. He's the first person that I ever really ever let do energy work on me, and he was incredible. After the session with him, he gave me some amazing messages. I don't really remember everything at this point because it's been years. And he also did energy work on the person that I was with, whose name was Claire. And he was kind of like vague with her, and like you could tell that he was feeling a little weird about her. Um, Later on, like after I experienced this trip with her, he told me that he was like trying to subtly warn me to not trip with her, but I didn't pick up on any of the messages because clearly I needed to go through this experience. So then we go back to her place and we dose. And I have taken this acid plenty of times. Like I had taken this exact acid so many times. Um, and I only took 2 tabs, which really isn't that much. And so I took 2 tabs, and within 15 minutes, which it never kicks in this quickly for me, I all of a sudden started seeing code on everything. Like in the movie The Matrix, when they're looking at the code of the Matrix through the computer screen, how it's like, the like numbers in green that are like moving downwards. It looked like that kind of. The color was different. It looked like hieroglyphs almost, or some sort of like language that I didn't know, and it was illuminated in this like really beautiful rainbow light, and it was on everything, like the chair, the carpet, the window, the cars outside, on everything. And this, I started seeing this within 15 minutes, and I'm just like, oh shit, am I being shown the secrets of the universe? Like, what? So I'm just tripping out on this, just like looking at it, like trying to decipher it, like, what is the message here? And then all of a sudden, the person that I had taken acid with, Claire, she started freaking out on me. She started like talking about work because we worked together at a queer rights organization. And she had said that like essentially that what we were doing was like wasting time, that like nobody even cares. And I don't know, it was really strange. So I started to feel really, really, really awful. And I'm still like seeing the code of the universe on everything, but I'm starting to feel like really panicky. I have PTSD, so it's like when I start getting into that panicky state, things can go really dark for me really quick. And so after some time, like she's still like freaking out and being really weird and saying these like really awful and strange things. And she invited these 2 men over who I didn't know. I'd only seen one of them once before, and they ended up doing mushrooms, and all of them started being really mean to me, like really awful. And I just decided to leave. I was like, I have to get out of here. The place that she was living at, she was roommates with one of my really good friends at the time. And I just asked, like, can I please go into this person's room? And she was like, no, you can't be anywhere in the house. Like, I wasn't even allowed to use the bathroom. It was super strange. And then she, yeah, just like was not allowing me to go anywhere in the house. So I'm just, I wanted to put on some layers because it was cold outside. So I went into the kitchen, was like, fine, I'll just like get dressed here. It's whatever. So I go in there and I'm trying to put my clothes on, like a dress that I had. And let me tell ya, it's really, really hard already to put on clothes when you're on acid. But when you're seeing the code of the universe on everything, it's a whole other level of difficult. So I was having a real hard time getting into this fucking dress. And next thing you know, the lights get shut off. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did the lights go off? So I take off the dress and then I turn on the lights again. I start trying to put it on again, and then the lights go off again. And at this point, I start freaking out. I start to cry, and I turn the lights on again and start over, try to put the dress on, and then they turn off again. So finally, I take the dress off, and when I turn on the lights this time, this person and those two men are standing at the doorway just like smirking at me. Um, and we're just, yeah, being just looking hella evil. And at that point, I was like, I need to call somebody to get me out of here because I am terrified that these people are going to kill me or hurt me in some way. So I called my brother-in-law and he rolled through and he ended up like getting me out of there. Um, and then he took me to one of my sister's house, his wife. And, you know, I thought I was safe. Unfortunately, I forgot that my sister and her husband really love to do this thing where they toy with people when they're under the influence of drugs, which is a terrible thing to do. Don't ever do that. That's awful. But they love to do that. And I forgot and just wanted to be somewhere safe. And like when I first got there, my nephews were awake and I told them good night. They went into the bedroom. And then after that, my sister started telling me that I needed to give my life to Jesus, which was weird because she's not really that Christian. But I'm under the influence of fucking LSD. So I am just having a really hard time figuring out like what the fuck was happening. And at the time I'm a felon. And at the time I was still on probation. And she told me that if I didn't give my life to Jesus, that she was going to call the cops on me and tell them that I like stole something from her. So they would put me in prison. As I'm also on no contact with police, which meant that if I got arrested for anything, I would end up doing my maximum sentence, which was 7 years in prison. So I'm fucking terrified. Like I'm about to really go to jail, like on acid. And then my brother-in-law started saying that he wanted me to join his gang and they were just threatening me with like calling the cops on me. And yeah, I didn't know what to do. So I just sat down and was like, I don't know what you expect of me. So she ended up calling the cops. And at this point, like I could see like cop lights coming up. So um I'm like, fuck, I'm about to go to prison. Like, this is it for me. Like, I'm really about to go to jail right now. Um, and I was just like, well, I should at least like maybe go say like bye to my nephews before I go to prison for fucking 7 years and don't see them again. So I got up off the couch and I felt this weird tug at my chest. And yeah, after the tug at my chest, I remember just standing up and everything around me, like I was still obviously in her house, but everything looked different. Like it felt like you could see things vibrating more. Like it looked like things looked kind of sparkly and like really interesting. And I looked behind me on the couch and I could still see my physical body there and was like, what the fuck? No, but then I saw like I heard like footsteps outside and just like went out of that like thought and was like I gotta go see my nephews. Like something was telling me go see your nephews. And I looked at my sister and my brother-in-law and they looked like really sickly and like really pale and like you could see every like vein in their body. They looked like really demonic almost. And I like go to the back room and I open the door. My sister and my brother-in-law like start chasing after me. And I opened the door to my nephew's room and it was completely empty. Like completely empty. There was nothing in there. And I had literally just taken them into that room and like had seen all their stuff, had seen them. And there was nothing in there. So I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. So I take a step back and the door closes on its own and the doorknob disappears. And then to the left of me, there was another door to the bathroom that was closed and it opened from the inside. And at that moment, I could feel like time around me just stopped. And then when the door opened, this very tall figure walked out and just came up to me and was like, please don't freak out. And I'm just like, bitch, who are you? The cops are here. I don't know what's going, like, don't freak out. But then after like a few seconds, I could feel her energy and started to feel like very calm. And then she just broke some shit down to me. She told me that that night I was going to experience like what my power really is and like see like who the fuck I really am. And that she's like my guide. She is one of my guides. And she like pretty much told me everything that was going to happen in the world and the universe within the next few years. Like lots of things I don't remember consciously, but I know that my subconscious like got those things. And she just told me that I was going to experience a lot of pain that night, but that it was all necessary in my evolution. And yeah, she said that she was going to be there with me the whole time and that I got this. And I'm just like, okay, well, whatever's going to happen, apparently it has to happen. So all of a sudden time speeds up. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't know if any of these things happened on the physical realm. I was in a whole ass other dimension at this point. Like my physical body was on the couch. I don't know if any of this happened in the physical realm, but this is what happened to me in the dimension that I was at. And then like she disappears and then cops just burst through the door and they surround me and they're just like kind of pushing at me a little bit. My sister and my brother are also like, my brother-in-law are also pushing at me. And at one point I'm just like, if y'all are just going to hit me, then fucking hit me. And then they just start beating me, like beating the fuck out of me. I fall to the ground as I have like, and I can see like all of these like fists just like wailing down on me. And when I close my eyes, I could see visions of people all over the world, people that I don't know, that are experiencing pain. And then I heard my guide's voice come in and say, this is your power. Like you're able to transmute this pain, not only for yourself, but for other people. And you're able to turn it into something beautiful. You just have to put your intention into that. So I was just like, yeah, you're like, this is for you. Like, this is like, I'm doing this for you. And the pain just disappeared. And I was launched into this hallway of like kaleidoscoping colors, like in fractals. And it was beautiful. And this particular thing happened a bunch throughout the night. Not like I was beat by them. I was raped. Like I went through some shit like over and over and over again. And each time I would see visions of people all over the world experiencing whatever I was experiencing at the time. And I would take all of that pain and transmute it. And yeah, so that was like the first part of it. And for some reason, the ambulance showed up. I think that my body, my physical body, became unresponsive. So my sister and my brother-in-law thought that I had overdosed, and the cops were already there. So they ended up like calling an ambulance. And like I just remember feeling the immense pain throughout my body after everything that I experienced. And like I had every bone in my body broken, like, and I remember like to the T exactly what that feeling felt like. And sorry, I'm a little stiffly. And so I get wheeled away on the gurney and get taken into the back of the ambulance. And then my guide shows up and she's just like, you did it. Like you did the first part of it. And I'm just like, the first part? Like what? She said, yeah, that was the first part. You're still going to experience more. But because you did so well, I'm going to show you your soulmate, like one of your soulmates, the person that you're going to meet soon, and that's going to like really change your life. So this like person walks in, and it's supposedly my soulmate. After like 2 weeks after, I actually did meet that person, and we ended up getting into a like nearly 4 year long relationship, and it was an incredibly life changing relationship. So that was on point. And then I got taken to the hospital, and I get like, I don't remember my physical body actually like getting into the hospital. I just remember kind of being up in the air and it flying through a window and then landing in my body, or like being near my body. And once I got there, my guide came in again, and she was just like, okay, well, now we're gonna go through the next part. It's gonna be just as hard, but I mean, are you starting to see like who you are? Are you starting to see your power? Are you starting to see like what you're supposed to be doing on this earth? Like, we needed to bring these messages for you. It hasn't been easy, but you needed to experience this so you're able to elevate and bring people up with you. So yeah, she was just like, so are you ready? And I was like, ride or die, fuck it, let's do this. And the next thing you know, I'm experiencing a heart attack and I die. And after I died, I went through this tunnel of light and I came back out. I was born again. And then I was in my body again and experiencing another form of death. Like, for about, I experienced pretty much, not like any way you could die, but at least 40 different ways that you can die. I experienced many overdoses, gunshot wounds, stab wounds. And each time I would like be dying of something, I would die, I would go through this tunnel of light, I would come out of it, be reborn, be back in a body that's dying again, and it would happen over and over and over and over again. It was exhausting. Like, I felt like there was going to be no end to it. I just consistently kept dying, being reborn, dying and being reborn, dying and being reborn over and over and over again. It felt like it took hours. And finally, I was done. Like, the last time I was reborn, and I landed in my body, and all of a sudden my guide came in, and all of my ancestors and other guides and angels and all of these entities just came into the room and were clapping, and they were just like, you did it. Like, bitch, do you see who you are? Like, do you see it? And they just like showed me like visions of like my future and like the work that I need to be doing. And it was incredible. It was one of the, I think that was like the most profound experience that I've ever had in my life. However, I I finally was able to fall asleep, but after I woke up, I literally thought I had gone insane. And for weeks, I was convinced that I was losing my mind, and was even considering checking myself into a psych ward, because I was just like, none of that could possibly be real. Like, how could any of that be real? How could that happen to anybody? I made that all up. And then I met the person that was going to be my partner, my soulmate, that was shown to me. And when I met him and remembered like who I was shown during that trip, and was like, you're that person. Oh my God. Maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe I'm not making any of this up. So that really helped solidify things for me, and like helped me really believe that that happened. Yeah, it was like a lot to go through. It was really difficult. But I feel like because I'm a Virgo and I'm incredibly stubborn and really, really not like cynical, but I need like proof to believe anything. Like, I need like solid proof. And I think that because of me being that stubborn and like hard-headed, I think I've had to experience some really intense shit to be able to understand like my power and like the way that the world and the universe works. Like, my guides have had to really like shake me the fuck up, because I was just like a little too cynical. Yeah, I was cynical, let's be real. And even though it's been hard to like have to go through experiences like that, I feel like really grateful for them, because all of those experience like turned me into the person that I am today, and I'm pretty tight. So um yeah, so I just wanted to share that. I've been wanting to share it for a while, but I felt like just writing it out wasn't going to really do the story any justice, and I really wanted to start feeling more comfortable with actually speaking on video, which I actually do like a lot, so that's really cool. So I'll definitely be making more videos. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my wild ass story.